we have Ashley, and the primary focus we'll be speaking on is sustainability, agriculture, and utilizing our resources for our own selves. So, talk to me a little bit. How are you?
Love that. Thank you. I'm doing great, actually. What do you want to get started with?
I remember we had a conversation a while back that really stuck with me when it came to, okay, if the grocery store is shut down, what are we going to do?
Exactly.
And that was one thing you said. Like, I don't know if it's been 6 months or a year, but I never forget it.
Yeah.
Especially with the whole pandemic, certain things just opening my eyes, and I feel as if that's something that we do need to focus on.
Okay. It's crazy because it seemed like perfect timing almost. I started this prior to the pandemic. I'm in school currently for agriculture, and I'm going into agriculture and sustainability. But when the pandemic hit, it's like I kind of went into overdrive just from the frustration of going into different grocery stores. I don't shop locally. I have to go out of my way and hit Whole Foods in Princeton or Trader Joe's in Princeton or whatever else in order to get shit that actually makes sense for what I personally believe in, as far as my diet is concerned or whatever. And having to go to those areas to source food and you find out that you don't have shit to have access to. I curse a lot, I'm sorry, but it's who I am. But yeah, going to these areas to get food that actually is organic and is fresh and that makes sense as far as what my cooking looks like, and then entering the store and their racks are cleared out because the white people that they primarily cater to have taken everything because these are their neighborhoods, and not being able to go to ShopRite because they don't have anything that is ethical as far as nutrition is concerned. So it's like, I'm black, I'm resourceful, why not grow my own stuff? And that's kind of how I took off with that. I went to Home Depot, I went to Lowe's, I went to different places and started to look into soil, look into seeds, start to research different methods of growing, whether it be like through soil or hydroponics or whatever, but basically to educate myself so that I could be a wealth of resources going forward. So yeah.
Well, it's a lot right there. And, I think it's something that we all need to focus on, honestly. But let me ask you, what's the first step? Like you said, you went looking into soil.
Yeah.
Is that the first step?
The first step is research, because you can go and physically look in the stores all you want to, but if you don't have like a foundation as far as how you're going to approach it, then you're just wasting money, because there's so many different techniques. Like one thing about it that I had to learn, and being somebody that's studying agriculture, it helped me because as far as agriculture is concerned, like we have different zones and stuff. I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with that. But you can't just say, I'm going to plant something and just go plant it outside, especially considering the fact that Trenton is a formerly industrial city. So like all of that stuff that was emitted into the air from the different factories and stuff that they had, that's leached into the ground. So whatever you grow is going to contain that. So you have to research how you want to go about it. I grow indoors, so I have to look into what soil is best suited for the things that I want to grow, because different soils support different forms of life. So they have like soil mixtures to where some contain more clay, some contain more sand, some contain more like the organic matter that we know as dirt, but it's actually soil. So it's different components that you have to think about. I watched my videos, I ordered books, I did a lot of background research before I just went in. I knew that I wanted something organic. I don't bang with chemicals, so I'm not going to want to grow in something that's chemically laden. I looked into different growing mediums, because if you use like clay pots or something like that, first of all, your stuff could bust out of that because roots don't care, and it leaches the water out of it. I wanted something that made sense, so I used fabric pots. I don't really use a lot of plastic because I don't believe in that, because I feel like that leaches your nutrients as well. So just finding out different things, finding out what's best grown during what temperature, because if I'm increasing my heat in the winter and it's killing my plants, then that's kind of like counterproductive. So you have to look into a bunch of different stuff, but you can also ask questions when you go into different stores. Okay. So basically, in going into agriculture and sustainability, my ultimate goal is to eradicate food deserts in urban areas. And I'm passionate about that because I'm from West Trenton, from the hood, I guess, my street quiet or whatever. And it's basically like when you come from an area where the only thing that's of easy access to you is corner stores or chicken spots or fast food joints, but you go into the suburbs and you have the ease of, oh, I want stuffing today so I can get a sandwich with vegetables on it. Or I want a salad today, I can grab that. Oh, I want a smoothie, I can grab that. But for us, I'm hungry, I went to Trenton High main campus, I'm hungry, I'm gonna go to Prince. Or I'm hungry, I'm gonna hit the corner store. So that's an issue because when they were redeveloping like the Chambers Street area, the first thing that they made sure that they did for us was give us a McDonald's. How are you doing this when you know that the food that they have inside the cafeteria is pretty much rotten? So kids are hungry. You have people who do not come from the background to where so they have meals readily available to them when they are at home with their families or their families can't afford it. So they're going to take what they can get. You have corner store babies who grow up on whatever is accessible in the corner store. If somebody is microwaving food and feeding that to them every single day, then that's what they're getting. So my passion and my drive is basically to give Black people something that makes sense as far as their diet is concerned, because cancer does not run in our families. High blood pressure, hypertension, diabetes, any other type of health issues, they don't run in our families, they run in our diets, and that's passed on from generation to generation to generation. But if you don't know that, you can't break the cycle, and I hope to one day break that cycle by teaching people how to do what's necessary to feed themselves.
Previously we were talking about food deserts and how that
what that means for this area.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, as y'all know, because y'all most likely live here, or majority of you guys live here, and even if you don't, if you're Black and you're in like an urban area, check your surroundings. When it comes to food, think about how far you have to drive out to reach a supermarket. What is Trenton, a 7-mile radius?
7.8, yeah.
Yeah, there's only one major supermarket within that space. If you want to go anywhere to get food that makes sense as far as your budget is concerned, and if you can even access a ride to get there, whether you drive, you have to pay for it, whatever, you only have ShopRite. You only have ShopRite. It's a limitation on what you can and cannot get depending on what season it is or what specials they have or what have you, right? And then they upcharge. So you have to think about that. They're upcharging, they're not giving you fresh produce, they're not giving you the stuff that matters. The stuff that you're gravitating towards is what you think has been passed down from generation to generation. Outside of that, the only thing that is like ready-made, quick service food, because you have to also take into account the fact that if you're working, most of your time is being spent at a corporation giving them your hours in order to earn a paycheck to support your living. So you're paying for food all the time. You're paying for fast food. You're paying for whatever makes sense to you within that moment. It's of no nutritional value whatsoever. So when I say that this area is a food desert, it's based off the simple fact that you'll find a chicken spot with no problem, you'll find a pizza spot with no problem, you'll find a corner store, and you'll find fast food with no issue whatsoever. You'll be able to get in and get out, and is at a so-called discount, but that discount is worth more than you can imagine when you bring your health into the picture. So with being in this area, there's not things that are readily available to us. We're sandwiched between the townships, which is funny because that within itself is a story, but we're sandwiched between the townships of Hamilton and Ewing. And when you venture out into Hamilton and Ewing, you find smoothie places all of a sudden. You find salad bars all of a sudden. You find different things that can contribute to your health going in a more positive manner. But these places are sections of Trenton that the white people ran to when they didn't want to be with the Black people in the hood, so-called hood that they helped to create. So as far as food deserts is concerned, it's because if you really look at it, the things that are of nutritional value are not where we reside at. We don't have things that point to our health being within a positive sphere. We have things that detract from our health and our well-being. We have things that work against us in the most counterproductive way, to where as though we develop all of these different health issues as we progress in life because we don't learn better. They don't give us food of nutritional value in these schools as we're growing up. So we don't think, oh, I'm craving a salad. Like a white child in elementary school can tell you that they're craving fruit or a salad. And a black child of the same age is going to tell you they want McNuggets, or they want a burger, or they want some chicken, or can I get some mac and cheese? And we just think, oh, that boy got a good appetite, or oh, that girl got a good appetite. No, like it's helping to work against the mentality of the children, because if you're lethargic because you're nutrient deficient, you're just going to think, oh, maybe I need to rest more. Oh, maybe I should take an energy drink. Oh, maybe I should do this or that or whatever. And all of those help to work against you. That's why we have diabetes or high blood pressure or hypertension or any of the other ailments. Skin diseases, they stem from your body not processing the food properly because the food is trash. So it's so many different things that work against who we are based on where we are geographically, because they pushed us into these areas and depleted us of everything. And we fought it for so long because we feel like, well, I got this, when you don't have shit. So, yeah.
The food desert topic goes very deep, because I remember when I first went off to college, I was, you feel me, around 18, 19. We were doing this research on these places called food deserts. It was an area of a small radius in which didn't have any grocery stores. Mm-hmm. So halfway through the class, I'm like, man, we keep talking about these food deserts,
I lived there.
Finally hit
I lived
me,
there, yeah.
But it was a team of white researchers who were doing more research as to why these places exist. And they were going into these places of poverty, and I'm just so bored in the class, like it's not really resonating like why this is important.
Yeah. It's like, it doesn't resonate why it's important, and then it's like they think it's controversial that they're doing this research because they're so far removed, but
right.
You guys helped create this. It
and
might not be
give
directly.
Effort. Like,
Word, because how you gonna fix it?
For the research, it was more like, okay, in the consensus, what I really got from it, I mean, mind you, I didn't really care for the class, but what the research basically ended with was the fact that most of the people in these environments are going to have to travel outside of the environment.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, well, it's available, but it's 15 minutes away. Yeah. So they have access, but it's like if you're in a position of poverty, all your money is going to rent. If you have children, you're taking care of them, you're maintaining for yourself, you're worried about transportation to get to and from work, right? You might not have a car. Your car might have issues. You can't get to where you need to be at to get these things. So how does it make sense for me, you know? Because when they put a Princeton University somewhere, look at Nassau Street, look at all the different businesses that surround that place. They have so many different things. It's a Arlie's, that's the raw fruit, and it's a raw place. Like they have raw fruits and juices and things like that. They have that up the street. They have a Panera Bread. They have salad places. They have smoothie bars. They have everything that you could think of, and they make it convenient because of the demographic, right? Look at what's the school that's right on Pennington? What is that?
Monument?
No. It's a college. The College of New Jersey, actually. They put everything right there within that plaza. They have the Panera. They have a smoothie bar, and then they have the Fruitable, right? Then they have their Starbucks and all that other stuff. So when you think about it, you think about how they make things available to cater to where they are the demographic, the majority of the demographic, where they are sending their children and stuff like that, because they don't want their kids to just rely on a diet that is lacking nutritionally, because they know the long-term damaging effects. But for us, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, let's clip that.
Rolling.
Okay, we're back, and I know when you talk about farming and you talking about growing sustainability, I know you're also into marijuana.
Okay.
And what comes with that. So I wanted to ask you, as somebody that's into that, how do you feel about the legalization or commercialization, should I say?
I don't believe in it. And I don't believe in it primarily because, like, you have growers. I'm a grower. But I grow because I want to know what's going into my stuff. Because I don't believe in chemicals and stuff like that. I don't believe in how we don't know what we're taking into our bodies. But it's like when you legalize it and commercialize it, we're not at the forefront of that. We don't benefit as black people, and that's how I approach everything. How am I as a black person going to benefit? How are people that look like me going to benefit? I was in LA in July, and there are dispensaries everywhere. But when you go into those dispensaries, the people of color are security. They're not behind the counter. They are not owning the business. they're not at a position to where as though it's like, and they have black dispensaries, don't get me wrong, but they're few and far in between. But a majority of the ones that are reputable are white owned or whatever else they want to call themselves, but they're not black or Hispanic or whatever. But with how it's becoming legal in New Jersey, there are still black people that have charges and are locked up off of marijuana. So it's like you can legalize it, that's cute, but are you going to free these people? Because we still have to pay fines and stuff like that if we're caught with a certain amount. How is that working to my benefit if you're saying, okay, now this is legal, the law is very limited and we don't understand it? Because it was just something the other day that I saw to call into your representatives about it was some type of legal jargon concerning how they made it legal because it was working against us. But we were just so happy about the win of, now it's legal.
It seems we celebrate a lot of things now.
And it's so much more work to do. It's so much more work to do because you can look at it at face value and it looks good. But when you really think about everything that goes into it behind the scenes, it's not benefiting you in no way, shape, form, or fashion. So you can have the conversation about legalizing it, but what are you going to do about people who are serving bullshit ass sentences based off of the same thing that's not legal? Are you going to reverse those charges? Because when they made weed legal in different areas, you still have people that are still behind bars. And it's been legal in those areas for a while now. So are y'all going to criminalize us while white women get to tweet about how, oh, I'm so edgy, I have a mom's group where we smoke weed because our kids are getting on our fucking nerves? Like, what is it? Like, you're going to have white yoga moms who also in the same breath are running drug rings because they want to feel badass. Like, what is it? Like, are you going to decriminalize us as black people? Or are you going to give us something to make us happy where we rejoice and we just forget that we still have a bunch of different issues? Because in the same breath, this stuff is legal, what they lacing it with now? Because why y'all so pressed to make it legal? Because we've been getting weed. So why are y'all so pressed? What's the issue? What are you going to put in my weed? Because every child as of now has autism or ADHD. What are y'all putting in the stuff that y'all are fighting to make legal to us? I'm very, very skeptical about certain things based off of how it affects us and people that look like us. So, yeah.
Getting back to the agriculture and this dream you had, let's close it with that.
Which dream?
When it comes to the growing of food and the grocery stores being shut down and this purge that we keep being programmed to be prepared for, when it comes to that, like, what do you feel needs to happen for us?
I think that as a people, because we are, Trenton is black and brown. It's not a lot of white people out here, so the resources aren't automatically going to go to us. I think that we need to stop looking for people to save us. It's not to say that you have to go out there and put your cape on and turn into this person, but you have to understand that just how people were frustrated because they couldn't get something as simple as water. And, in the white neighborhoods, they don't have to worry about that because their filtration services are A1. Whereas though, like, they put so many things in the water here that if we were to not be able to get cases of water, what are we going to drink? You're going to boil your water on the stove, you're going to turn into Flint, Michigan? Like, you have to prepare yourself because anything can happen and you will be like those people in Katrina who they left to die for their own reasons because they could say whatever they want to say to us, but we got to stop looking for a white man to save us. And people can feel how they want to feel about that. You could feel like you're above that or it doesn't apply to you, but at the end of the day, in one way or another, it does. You have to stay ready. You have to resort back to the things that your forefathers knew because it was a point in time where even though we weren't in a position of power, we knew how to do everything as black people, and that's what I think about all the time. I'm African, so it's so much shit that I just know how to do based off of the strength of that's how my family operates, and they didn't hide it from me. So it's not strange for me to say I'm going to make a way and actually figure out how to do that shit. We are a community, all hate aside. Like, we can talk to each other, we can share the wealth and share our resources and figure out how to come together to help each other so that when stuff goes left, we can make a way where there seems like there's no way, because at some point they're going to lock this shit back down again and all you won't have is ShopRite. And if they change the hours, where you going to go, what you going to do? if they're pulling you over and your registration or your license or whatever is not straight and you're coming back from Princeton from shopping in their neighborhood, what you gonna do? So you have to make it make sense for yourself and all those that are connected to you.
That's a wrap, man. That was powerful, and I hope y'all hear everything she says. This is going to be posted like crazy. Stay tuned for this. That's it.